When plushier cars are built, Buick will build them. And today's test car comes from the top of the Buick totem pole, the Riviera. It's all new, from bumper to bumper. If you're looking for something about as smooth as liquid velvet, then this is it. You know, the boys in Flint, Michigan take a lot of pride in this car, and we were anxious to ring it out.
This ultra-posh performer offered us several surprises, the first of which came during the acceleration run. The speedometer walked up to 30 miles an hour in 3.4 seconds. It's kind of rare to get this much wheel spin from a 4,400-pound Detroit go-mobile, but the Riviera left rubber. 5.2 seconds later, we had 45 miles an hour. By the time we went for the 60-mile-an-hour run, the tires were hot and grabbing. 8 quiet seconds later, the clock stopped, and we had the best times we've ever recorded on a full-size Buick. If there's such a classification as a sporty, personal, luxury-type car, the Buick Riviera has to fall in that category. But not only that, it has to be placed in a niche near the top of the heap. From a styling standpoint, it's all new, and it's pretty. There's more people room in this new model. That's probably because it's bigger overall. The interior is about as luxurious and comfortable as your own living room. For a hauler, the 455 cubic inch V8 is standard. So is the 4-barrel carburetor and the 3-speed automatic transmission. The compression ratio, 8.5 to 1. As per usual, Buick brakes are some of the best in the industry. From 30 miles an hour, it only took 36 feet to stop. Our tester came with the power disc brakes up front and composite cast iron drums in the rear. From 50 miles an hour, we dragged rubber 94 feet. All of our stops were made in a good straight line with little or no correction necessary. This braking system dissipates heat rapidly. Pedal fade was very slight. From 70 miles an hour, it took 197 feet to grind to a halt. There was quite a bit of dive on the front corners when we pushed her through the pylons. Anything over 40 miles an hour and the rear end would go squirrely. Rebound and recovery, fair. The Riviera went into the reverse spins well, but it comes out with a lunge hard enough to lift the front wheel, plus rattle your head around inside the helmet. High-speed cornering has never been the long suit for any Buick, and this one wasn't much different. Body lean was excessive, and when we pushed it harder, there was a marked tendency to wallow through the turns. In this standard Riviera, we had the wishbone with coil springs up front and a live axle with coils in the rear. The GS version comes with a heavy-duty suspension, and it makes a lot of difference. The dollar difference for the beefier suspension is very slight, and I still can't understand why Buick doesn't make it a standard offering on all of their full-sized cars, especially when it gives much greater stability, security, and safety. With the Riviera, it appears that Buick might be trying to reach the mature ex-Stage 1 driver who wants a bigger and more luxurious car, but can still recall and enjoy a car that handles well. I wonder if this one will fill the bill.
Well, that's it. And I think you'll agree she's a smoothie. We'll be right back in 1 minute. Put the Riviera together in Flint, Michigan, are proud of it. And rightfully so. It's probably one of the best personal luxury cars on the road. And that luxury is spelled with a capital L. The price tag on this one won't quit. But then, are there any cheap cars today? We haven't found any. You know, though, if you're looking for cars in the upper echelon price bracket, then don't overlook the Buick Riviera.
If I were going to build a sporty, personal, luxury-type car, I'd do a lot of copying from this Riviera. From a styling standpoint, it's clean, original. When you spot it on the road, you don't associate it with any other car. Performance-wise, the GS handling package and modified 455 cubic inch engine made it one of the best Buicks we've ever tested. This one had it all, even a hole in the roof. All this extravagance was mounted on top of a 122-inch wheelbase. The interior is extremely comfortable with a heavy, luxurious look. complete with stereo tape. The cartridge slips in behind the AM/FM radio dial. Clever, huh? It had cruise control, steering wheel adjustment, and 6-way power seats. If you get sleepy driving this one, pull off the road. It's almost too comfortable. This is the modified 455 cubic inch V8 that comes as standard equipment in the GS series. It's topped by a 4-barrel Rochester carburetor. We were a little surprised during the acceleration runs when this whipped cream smooth performer ran up to 30 miles an hour in 3.5 seconds. It's kind of rare to get wheel spin from a 4,500-pound plushmobile like this, but we did, and 50 came in 5 seconds flat. By the time we went for the 60-mile-an-hour run, the tires were hot and grabbing. 8.4 seconds later, the clock stopped, and we took a second look at the bronze bomb. Good brakes came as no surprise. From 30, we stopped in 41 feet. This 50-mile-an-hour stop took 89 feet. Buick has been putting excellent binders under their cars for a long time now, and this one was no exception. From 70 miles an hour, we ground to a halt in 201 feet, and with hot brakes. The slide was straight as an arrow. This GS handling package showed us a real difference while running the pylon course. With the straight Riviera, we had considerable front corner dive and had to run slower to keep the rear end from going squirrely. But our testers stayed fairly flat. Rebound and recovery were good. Here's that same run in slow motion. You be the judge. After 2 laps around the track, our driver stopped and asked, "Is this really a Buick? It handles." In corner it did. Watching from the outside, body lean was very noticeable. However, on the inside, it didn't seem to be excessive. The Riviera comes with independent suspension. Up front, they employ A-frame upper and lower control arms, coil springs and ball joints, plus a live axle with coils in the rear. On the GS series, they beef it up with heavy-duty shocks and torsion bars. Then, too, they stiffened the spring rates this year. We were actually able to take the Riv cornering at high speed and enjoy it. This heavy-duty suspension package is an option at very little additional cost and worth every cent, especially with the improved feeling of security it gives. Along with the 4,500 pounds of curb weight, we felt that the beefier leg muscles were holding up a pretty heavy price tag. In fact, the window sticker on this car was so long, we couldn't raise the window high enough to read the total price. It was our biggest objection to the entire car.